Cinderella. Part 2. The prince's mouth dropped open. He had never seen a woman as beautiful as Cinderella. He asked her to dance. They danced together all evening. The prince thought Cinderella was beautiful, but also kind, clever and funny. She laughed at his jokes, and he laughed at hers. Cinderella was having such a wonderful time that she didn't notice that it was so late. The clock began to chime midnight.
"Oh no! I have to leave,"
gasped Cinderella, and she ran out of the ballroom.
"Don't go! I don't even know your name,"
shouted the prince. But Cinderella was already gone. Cinderella fled from the palace so fast that she lost one of her glass shoes on the stairs. When she got to the bottom of the stairs, the clock finished chiming midnight. Cinderella's beautiful dress turned back into rags, and her golden carriage turned back into a pumpkin. Just then, she saw the prince running towards her, holding the glass shoe she had dropped. She did not want him to see her dressed in her dirty old rags. She felt ashamed, but there was nowhere to hide.
"Excuse me, miss,"
he said, panting.
"Did you see where that beautiful girl went? This is her shoe. I must find her."
The prince didn't recognize Cinderella without her beautiful clothes. Cinderella shook her head. The prince ran off to continue his search. Cinderella walked all the way home. 3 weeks passed. The prince couldn't sleep. He could not stop thinking about the beautiful girl at the ball. He waited for her to return to the palace, but she did not return. He waited for her to send a letter, but no letters came. Finally, in desperation, he gave the glass shoe to a trusted messenger and ordered him to visit every house in the kingdom.
"Find the girl who this shoe belongs to, and bring her to me."
The messenger visited hundreds of houses. At every house, women claimed the glass shoe was theirs. But when they tried on the shoe, their feet were too big, or too wide, or too small. Finally, the messenger arrived at Cinderella's house. Cinderella's stepmother opened the door.
Of course, come in."
She led the messenger into the dining room, where the 2 stepsisters were waiting. The oldest sister said,
"Thank God. That's my shoe."
but when she tried the shoe, her foot was too wide. The youngest sister said,
"Silly sister. It's not your shoe. It's my shoe."
but when she tried the shoe, her foot was too small. The stepmother said,
"Get out of the way. Girls, it's not your shoe. It's my shoe."
and tried the shoe, but her foot was too long.
Oh, how silly. The shoe must have shrunk in the rain,
said the stepmother. But the messenger was not so easily fooled.
Are there any other women in this house?
He asked.
No one but our serving girl, and the shoe is certainly not hers,
said the stepmother.
Fetch her immediately. Every woman in the kingdom must try the shoe,
insisted the messenger. When Cinderella arrived in the dining room, she was wearing her usual rags, and her face was covered in dirt. She put her dirty foot into the glass shoe and, amazing, it wasn't too wide. It wasn't too long. It fit perfectly. In a quiet voice she said,
It's my shoe.
Please come with me,
said the messenger. And before Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters could stop them, the messenger hurried Cinderella out the door and into a carriage. Cinderella was taken to the palace to meet the prince. She was still wearing her dirty old dress, and her arms, legs and face were dirty. She looked at the floor because she felt so ashamed. The prince took Cinderella's hand.
Miss, please look at me,
he requested kindly. And when she lifted her head, and he saw her kind, green eyes, he knew that she was the girl he had fallen in love with at the ball. They were married the next spring, and spent the rest of their lives laughing at each other's jokes.